Seneca writes that wisdom is not simply knowledge, but the use of knowledge, the habit of a perfect mind raised as high as nature allows. For Seneca, it is the helm that guides us through every hazard and the source of true happiness. Seneca further reminds us that wisdom must be printed in the mind by daily meditation and practiced, not just spoken. It is not a subject for show, but the force that fashions the mind and governs our actions. Cicero observes that wisdom concerns knowledge of things both human and divine, and the bonds between men and gods. He calls it the foremost virtue, without which a man, even in perfect peace and abundance, would perish in solitude. Cicero explains that practical wisdom, or prudence, is the knowledge of what to seek and what to avoid. This knowledge sustains the social bonds that make life possible and meaningful. Cicero also warns that virtue alone, though sufficient for happiness, requires strength of character to withstand fortune's trials. The mind must be fortified to rise above pain and misfortune. In Tusculan Disputations, Cicero exhorts us to rouse the virtues when they falter. He teaches that fortitude will give spirits to despise all that can befall man and to regard hardships as mere trifles. Therefore, to live wisely is to live with a mind at the helm, steady and practiced, rising above fortune's blows. Cicero's charge is clear. Let wisdom govern your every hour, for without it we cannot be safe. Consider that all external things, fortune and pain alike, are indifferent to your true self. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that justice, moderation, and courage come from within, not from circumstance. Cicero teaches that virtue and philosophy are one and the same, and that virtue alone is good. No external event can harm the soul unless it consents to be harmed. Reflect on the nature of right and wrong. There are no degrees, only what is right and what is wrong. Control your own choices and actions, for these alone belong to you. Pain itself is not an evil, Cicero asserts, but only moral wrong is truly evil. To suffer is outside your power, to act rightly or wrongly is within it. Marcus Aurelius observed those who held power yet remained governed by reason. Their true strength was self-mastery, not dominion over others. Turn your will inward to govern yourself with temperance and fortitude. This is the path to freedom and peace, as Cicero and Marcus Aurelius affirm. Do not be carried away by fortune's changes. Instead, hold firm to your own reason and justice. This is the good that no one can take from you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that whether death comes tomorrow or many years hence, the difference is insignificant. The vastness of time before and after our lives renders the span of our days trivial by comparison. Seneca writes that life must be measured by action, not by time. A man may die old at 30 or young at 80. It is not the length of life, but the wisdom and virtue within it that matter. It is nature's law that we must go at last, and no delay can change that. Seneca counsels that the business of virtue is to make even a short life sufficient, to live well in the time allotted. Marcus Aurelius points to the countless men and cities long vanished, reminding us that all who once seemed powerful or learned are now gone. Their time was no different from ours. All share the same fate. Seneca urges us to fortify ourselves against the fear of death by frequent meditation on its certainty. To die well is the true measure of life, for death brings us to immortality through the legacy of virtue. Marcus Aurelius calls life's troubles and the frailty of the body a small and indifferent matter. Let your course be the shortest path, the one in accord with nature, living simply and with purpose. Remember then that the length of your days is uncertain, but the manner of your living is yours alone. Live with urgency and care, for life is fleeting, and the time to act is now. Consider first that nature moves all things toward their perfection, each according to its kind. Trees bear fruit, animals swim or fly, each confined to its nature without change. Cicero teaches in Tusculan Disputations that humans alone possess a mind derived from divine reason, a faculty unmatched by any other being. Cicero argues that the human form is the most fitting for the divine reason it houses. He writes that the gods, perfect and happy, must be of this form, since virtue cannot exist without reason, and reason resides only in the human mind and body. Yet Cicero reminds us that humans are born fragile, burdened with fears and passions. Within this frail mind lies a spark of divine intellect. This reason surpasses brute strength and grants humans dominion over other animals, securing their place and safety. Marcus Aurelius counsels in Meditations that nature is content when it follows its proper course, giving no consent to false imaginations and desiring nothing beyond what is in its power. He observes that a reasonable nature moves always toward the common good, embracing willingly what is appointed by the universal order. You are part of this common nature, a leaf among all leaves, sharing in a rational and just whole that cannot be hindered. Marcus Aurelius teaches that to live rightly is to align your will with this universal reason, to desire only what nature gives, and to act for the common good. Reflect on the nature of pain. Marcus Aurelius reminds you that it is not the magnitude of pain but your impressions that make it unbearable. What you truly feel, you can endure. Marcus Aurelius counsels daily self-examination, morning and evening, to gather yourself and confront faults with severity but without self-contempt. This practice strengthens your mind against the passions that disturb peace. Epictetus teaches that freedom arises from distinguishing what lies within your control, your thoughts, desires, and decisions, and what does not, such as health or reputation. This knowledge grants mastery over yourself amid external dependencies. Marcus Aurelius instructs you to train yourself to control passions and tender attachments, preparing always for inevitable farewells. Life, like a military camp or a stage play, demands that you act well the roles assigned by the universe. Through reason and careful meditation, pain loses its tyranny. Reframe it not as an evil, but as a test of your spirit's patience and magnanimity, a burden to bear with dignity and resolve. Imagine an old farmer steadying himself against a strong wind.